A very good morning to you, esteemed audience. After a new episode of Trump Demands a Ceasefire was released yesterday, I would like to give you some more film recommendations for the coming hours or perhaps for the next few days. Last night, Trump once again invoked the ceasefire. Yes, you could say he conjured it up. Iran didn't know anything about it yet and has for now somewhat revised the 15-point plan. That's why in this morning's program, we have Donald Trump and a new hope for a ceasefire on the schedule. Following that, we will probably see the next episode. It will then be called Where Do We Have It? Where Do We Have It? Here it is, Iran, the ceasefire strikes back. As soon as the first bombs start falling again, of course, the whole topic will be history. If that's not to your liking, just wait for the next episode. Donald Trump and the return of terror. That topic will also come up sooner or later. Or if all of this is too boring for you and you can't stand hearing about the Iraq War anymore, then I have the best movie of the evening for you. Revenge of the Fat, Paul raises the interest rates. That's a real nightmare for Donald Trump, just imagining what all might come of it. And with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Yeah, honestly, that pretty much sums up the last 24 hours, doesn't it? So ceasefire or not, supposedly for a month. But I just read that that's somehow not really the case. I just think it's awesome. You go to bed, read about a month-long ceasefire, hey, everything's great. And in the end, you just end up reading the first reports again early in the morning. I have told the countries mediating peace talks with the US that they have now been tricked twice by President Trump and don't want to be fooled again. And something like he doesn't know who he's talking to and he should rather talk to his mirror instead. That's the short summary of what Iran thinks of the 15-point plans, or rather of any peace talks. I don't know either. I just think something's going to happen over the weekend. The markets are going to be extremely affected by it. Then next Monday, Bitcoin will go up again. I'm honestly starting to run out of words myself because you can't even for an hour, you can't even look at the chart without some shitpost popping up. But the positive thing is it really seems like no rockets fell last night. But yesterday evening, before this 15-point plan took effect, a nuclear power plant in Iran was attacked. Great, right? Great. We're at a point, absolute shit show. But all right, let's definitely take a look at the charts now. Before we get started, as always, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, feel free to join the free Telegram Talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, you're welcome to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. There you'll also find more film alternatives like The Market is Cooked or We Know Nothing, War Escalates, No Peace. That's the continuation coming in the next few days. I think those are cool images. You need to have a bit of fun, especially in the current phase. It's just downright embarrassing now. By the way, the Philippines have announced as the first country to go into an energy lockdown, or rather to declare an energy emergency. Well, lockdown, does that sound familiar to you? 6 years ago, exactly 6 years ago. I think it won't take much longer in Germany either. But all right, let's just wait and see. In any case, US forms 15-point plan to end Iran war as Trump pushes talks. That was the news from last night, and as a result, oil completely crashed down at first, if we take a look at it. So, yes, crashed. How do you even put that best? In any case, it tanked and now it's rising again. Because apparently the whole consensus about it is just bullshit again. But all right, let's see what else comes out of this throughout the day, how things develop, and who knows what else. Stocks rise, wow, what a surprise. Oil falls on Iran de-escalation hopes. Hopes, that's what's currently moving the markets, that's how you have to put it. As long as no bombs are falling, that's good. As soon as they start falling again, all that hope goes down the drain. But let's just wait and see. The whole world is acting a bit crazy right now. We're seeing energy shortages, agricultural shortages, and so on everywhere. More and more countries are having problems. India bought 60 million barrels from Russia last month, or at least for April. Yes, you heard right, from evil Russia. There's still oil and gas there in abundance. It sounds like the tiki-taka country or something like that. There are things you just don't really know about. But anyway, if we take a look at Bitcoin at the same time, we see that it's going up. That's great. So even though there's no volume in the market, which is kind of cool, if we take a look at the spot order book, at least we see one nice thing, and that's good spot selling volume. There's a lot being sold again, really a lot. 30 million yesterday throughout the day, and there was simply no price action. We have 10 million. That was about the biggest the market had to offer. So volume and marker, that's what we're looking at. Let's take a look at the heat map. We see, oh yes, 72,000. There's a big order at 72,300, but that's pretty much where it ends again. Okay. Let's drop down to a lower time frame, or rather here to the 15-minute time frame. There too, we basically see the same picture at around 72,200 US dollars. That matches up well with the other heat map. And to the downside, 68,000 and then 64,000 US dollars, where there's a lot of volume. If we take a look at CFDs, there really isn't much follow-up pressure. But on the other hand, open interest is rising again. In the last few minutes, you really have to say, this is the 1 hour time frame. Let's see, we're also right in the middle of the VPBR resistance. It's definitely going to be interesting. Otherwise, honestly, nothing has changed. The expectations that interest rates will be lowered are zero. In fact, it's more likely they'll be raised. If we take a quick look at the bond market, we see the typical news. As soon as the 2-year bonds rise to 4%, something comes from Trump. That's basically what happened here, where it was called peace. Then the 2-year bonds rose to 4% again, then came the 15-point plan, and now we're basically rising again. So you see where the problem lies. The problem is the bond markets. We had higher interest rates, that's not the issue, but right now we're simply way too high. Even with 5-year government bonds, we're still just under 4%. Not really great. And it's the same game in Japan, so the bond markets have also gotten completely out of control over there. So much for peace. Let's move on to what else did I want to look at? Right, just briefly regarding the dollar. Before we break down the Forex markets, it's still at 99. And that means it's still relatively stable. But it's struggling with this level, and I still think we're more likely to see a stronger dollar. If anything happens over the weekend, as I said, emphasis on that. If something does happen, then the dollar will definitely rise significantly again next week. Otherwise, honestly, I'm kind of out of Bitcoin right now. There's just not enough happening. And to be honest, I don't want to deal with the risk and the whole shit show. I don't want to put myself through that, because you enter a trade, then bombs start dropping again, and you think, great, now it's going down. And then 2 hours later, Trump says, we have world peace, or some crap like that, right? So it's really no fun at all. That's why I'm staying on the sidelines with Bitcoin for now. I'm still short, and my old long from 65,000 is still running, so nothing has changed. Let's move on to the altcoins. The altcoins, yeah, Ethereum is pumping a bit again, but it's just stuck, just like Solana. Solana's also pumping a bit now, but the volume is just terrible. Let's take a quick look at XRP. Same story, no volume. The market is dead. The market is watching and the market is dead. Let's move over to the Forex markets. USD JPY is still at a very, very high intervention level. As I said, as long as the dollar is rising, it's not a problem. If we see declines in the dollar and at the same time see rising prices in the euro against, well, where is it? Euro against US dollar, then keep things like carry trade, unwinding, and similar behaviors in mind. But otherwise, there's nothing dramatic here for now. The traditional markets, DAX yesterday, well, now that VW apparently wants to get back into the arms industry, apparently, I don't know if electric cars aren't doing so well anymore, but yeah, let's see. So the DAX is definitely holding up relatively well. Dow Jones, yeah, stable, no volume. Nasdaq has actually already given back almost all the gains we made the day before. So if we take a look at it on the daily time frame, it doesn't exactly look positive. S&P 500. Okay, stable pre-market, but slightly up again. But the volume, look at the volume, it's terrible. No sustainable volume. And we already said it yesterday in the live stream that now regarding the volatility index, where is it? Where did I find it? Here, that now even the institutions, meaning the institutional investors, are starting to bet on more volatility. Now, since the volatility index is still at 24 anyway, you remember 2 or 3 months ago, there was the issue with the hedge funds. They prepared here for a bigger move, and it happened. Now the institutions are pretty much coming in as the last ones, I would say, possibly to catch this final push into the 30s region or even above the 30s region. Otherwise, the market is too quiet. Let's wait and see what happens, or rather what's still showing in the cinema today. For all the fans out there, I'll just say, did I look that up too? Did I look that up too? For those who are into German comedy, do I still have that on offer? Donald Trump imposes tariffs on the Punta Rosa Ranch. So you all know Shoot is Money too. And then you also know the Punta Rosa Ranch. Feel free to check it out tonight at 8:15 p.m. And otherwise, I'd say that's it from my side. Sorry that things were a bit funnier today, but What do you expect? Maka, that's what you get. Every 5 minutes, there's some new news. I'm honestly getting fed up. I'm just being honest with you. That's my personal opinion. This back and forth is just getting a bit annoying. And in the end, all the private credit firms are slowly but surely going down the drain in the background. And who knows what else is simmering behind the scenes? Energy crisis, who knows what else? Either there will be peace by Friday, or hopefully we'll get the Warsaw show. That's all I have to say about that. In any case, that's it from my side. I wish you all a wonderful, relaxed start to the day, and otherwise we'll hear from each other again tomorrow. Hopefully with a bit better mood, or rather, I'm in a good mood, but Mark watched it. You've been reading it in the background for days. Mark watched it. Until then, ciao ciao. And as always, stay crazy.